This morning on Daybreak, we explain the increasing presence of the entertainment industry in Northwest Arkansas.
And Hickory County had a public meeting to discuss a proposed ordinance on CAFOs.
Plus, there's an ongoing legal battle between a Branson physician and Cox Health. We'll get into that and more coming up this morning for you on Daybreak.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. You made it to Friday, August 23rd. I'm Lauren Barnes.
And I'm Joe Morano. And of course, as we said, the first full week for a lot of kids, wrapping it up. You're there, guys. Don't worry. Just get through today.
It gets easier after you get used to it.
Yeah, of course it does. No problem. So we're here to help you kick off that Friday. However, a bit wet starting out this morning, right?
Yeah, that never gets easier to wake up to.
What's the matter?
No, there's a fly, sorry. This morning, I was amazed in my car because I was driving on the highway to get here and I had no rain and then all of a sudden a heavy downpour where I couldn't see out my window and then no rain again. That's what we mean when we say locally heavy downpours. It's not downpouring everywhere, but we get these small pockets where you can't see and then all of a sudden it's fine.
Will that be the case pretty much all day today?
Yeah, we're looking at those showers and storms with those locally heavy downpours. It will be a little bit more widespread down in northwest Arkansas, so a flash flood watch continues there until 1 p.m. where 1 to 3 inches of rain fell overnight and another 1 to 2 inches is possible. So Bentonville and Fayetteville included in that. In Missouri, the heavy rain won't be widespread enough for there to be a watch, but we're looking at some wet roads in Branson this morning. It is 68 degrees on north and west winds at 3 miles per hour. You can see we're really focusing this rain pretty much south of Highway 60 here, and we've got these downpours in small pockets. We've got it just to the north of West Plains and south of Mountain View there, Mountain Grove and Capool seeing some locally heavy downpours, and then some small ones just to the west of Lebanon and then near Stockton, Springfield seeing some light rain out there this morning. But again, in these pockets, it could come down at a pretty good clip. 72 degrees in Springfield right now. It's 68 degrees in Branson. Be careful on the roads because the rain could be heavy at times, but for the most part should be all right. We're looking at a very cool temperature by dismissal at 80 degrees, much below average with the cloud cover. Details on your weekend forecast coming up right after in 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Elisa. The entertainment industry in northwest Arkansas continues to grow as production companies travel to the area to shoot in the natural state.
Hannah Zettel joins us now to explain how outside companies are coming into Arkansas to help build the local entertainment industry.
Well, that's right, Lauren and Joe. Skipstone Pictures, known for its films Max Winslow and the House of Secrets and Freddy, has now built relationships with 2 Northwest Arkansas universities. That's in hopes of shaping the futures of young filmmakers and keeping them here. John Brown University and the University of Arkansas are 2 schools focused on setting college students up for success in the film industry without having to cross state lines. Filmmakers who have worked in the natural state credit tax incentives, such as one program that provides rebates for producers that hire Arkansas residents to work on those projects. A study from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows only 27% of U.S. college grads have a job related to their major. Mark Landon Smith, part of that percentage of people working in their field, says in his experience as a casting director, it's all about hard work.
A lot of it is making your career and creating your own opportunities. And as a casting director and as an agent, sometimes I ask actors, why are you not creating? You have the ability to do that.
Well, it can be difficult navigating through the film industry in northwest Arkansas, but tax incentives paired with the outpour of community support while filming might make it worth it.
All right, Hannah Zettel, thank you for that story. Senator Roy Blunt was in Springfield yesterday to discuss women in business. He was at the women's conference put on by SCORE to help women grow their small businesses. During his closing remarks, Blunt pointed out the several women on his team and wanted to make sure people know he supports women in business.
Most jobs are started by small business. Not every small business makes it every time, but by the end of that process, usually everybody who's willing to stick with it figures out how to make either their business work or the business that they discover while they're being an entrepreneur work.
Now, Blunt also talked about mental health and gun regulation. When asked why, he talked about that at the business conference. He said it's because mental health needs to be addressed in the country, and women tend to make most of the decisions regarding health care.
Missouri Senate Bill 391 was set to take effect this coming Wednesday, but it's now on hold until September 16th because of a lawsuit. That bill would block counties from making ordinances against CAFOs, which are concentrated animal feeding operations.
Residents in some counties are trying to frantically pass health ordinances before September to restrict CAFOs. Last night, Hickory County had a public meeting to discuss a proposed ordinance, and it was overwhelmingly opposed by hundreds who showed up. We heard from Robert Sawyer, a member of the Cattlemen's Association in Hickory County, who says there are no CAFOs now, but this ordinance would force some farms into CAFO status. And he says this was a show of unity from their citizens to oppose it.
This is not just cattlemen. This is Hickory County citizens. This is people bonding together in Hickory County and putting a stance out that's saying we don't need more government to infringe on our personal rights and our property rights. And we don't need the government to tell us how to run our farms. But we also know that there's no one that cares more about this community, this land, this water than Hickory County cattlemen.
The county commissioners decide the fate of those ordinances, and based on the large turnout of those who opposed it last night, they will not be implementing it. Switching gears now to some medical coverage for you. We're learning about an ongoing legal battle between a Branson physician and Cox Health. In 2017, Dr. Charles Rasmussen sued the hospital and two other healthcare companies for what he calls Medicare fraud. Both Cox and the companies deny this claim and call the lawsuit frivolous. But according to the Springfield News Leader, court documents were unsealed earlier this year. The lawsuit accuses the companies of making Medicare patients seem sicker on paper to get more money from the government. The suit also claims Cox gave doctors incentives to give patients unnecessary examinations, which increases their risk score. That would in turn close care gaps, and the hospital would get millions in Medicare payouts. This practice is called upcoding.
However, a spokesman for the companies Essence and Lumeris say the allegations are, quote, wholly without merit, and the government declined to intervene after a thorough investigation. Rasmussen says he was forced out of the hospital after bringing up the issue. He wants Cox to pay back the money, but the healthcare companies believe they are fully compliant with the law. The lawsuit is still pending in federal court, and last month the judge denied an effort to dismiss the case. If a settlement is not reached, it could go to trial. It's your right to know. The IRS is warning taxpayers and tax professionals about a new impersonation email scam. Email subject lines will vary, but a few reported so far use the phrase automatic income tax reminder or electronic tax return reminder. The scam email might have a link to a website pretending to be about a taxpayer's account or return. Emails could also give a temporary password to access a refund file, but this will lead to a malicious file and could infect your computer with malware. The IRS says it does not send unsolicited emails and never emails taxpayers about the status of their refunds.
In some more political news for you, after an attempt to put a new Missouri abortion law to a public vote failed, abortion rights advocates are now suing Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft.
The suit was filed by No Bans on Choice and Missouri's American Civil Liberties Union. They claim Secretary Ashcroft's actions denied their right to referendum after they ran out of time to collect signatures to block the rule from taking effect. The group say Ashcroft dragged his feet, causing the time crunch.
They also say Missouri's laws make it harder to seek referendum, which is guaranteed through the state constitution. Ashcroft's office has yet to comment as well. Now, this is the third lawsuit regarding abortion in Missouri. The others were filed by Planned Parenthood and the ACLU against the state regarding the new abortion law itself. And
another lawsuit is between the state and Planned Parenthood over a St. Louis clinic's ability to perform abortions. Still ahead for you this morning, pilots from around the world are gathered being asked to test out MAX 737 jets.
Plus, what you'll hear the Federal Reserve Chairman discuss later today in your Money Watch.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Lauren Barnes, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa. This is Color 10 News Daybreak.